We can never see past the choices we don't understand.
The simulation continues. So today we are diving deeper into The Matrix and talking about what made the sequel great. For Joe and I, this movie is our favorite in the series so far. Tell us which is your favorite of the series down below. We are now getting our humans versus machines movie, and it is just the beginning. Literally. Talking about the machines, don't forget to hit that bell when you subscribe so you can get notifications of our next video drop. Before I get sidetracked, let's just fly right into the spoilers and everything else.
Now consider the alternative. What if I am right? What if the prophecy is true? What if tomorrow the war could be over?
The story continues about 6 months after Neo realizes he is the one, and we are immediately thrown into an awesome scene with Trinity. Her initial screen time shows how much more of a budget the film was given. This movie adds to the lore and expands the world in perfect ways. The film expands not just the real world, but the Matrix as well. We come to learn there are vampires, ghosts, and whatnot. What I love about it is that these myths aren't just thrown into the story, they actually have a reason. They are programs. Then the technological side of the Matrix programs that we already know about, we get to see have adapted as well, and we learn so much more about them in general. As the story evolves, so do the characters. We go from the initial Matrix movie having a story developed around computers that had a very linear concept, to now these added designs of earthy, cavernous, subterranean touches to expand the regions of Zion. Finally, we get to experience the human colony's way of living in the caverns of the Earth's core. Morpheus remains a firm believer of Neo being the one, while there are now people expressing an opposing view. That opposition helps make the real world more intriguing. Also, seeing the families of some of the crew members does help us care about them more outside of the Nebuchadnezzar crew. Agent Smith got his wish and has been set free, but not set free in the way he wanted to be. Even though the agents got what they wanted from the last film, the location of Zion, luckily not from Morpheus, this movie shows how the machines are on their quick pursuit to wipe out the rest of the human race. While the first film questions reality and fate, this movie questions control and sacrifice. These questions really come into reality when Neo meets that guy, and the architects. These moments shatter the world of this film, especially with the architects. We really learned that this whole scenario has happened 5 times prior to Neo. Neo once again breaks fate by choosing to save Trinity. We, as an audience, assume he will be able to save everyone even though he chose his world instead of the whole world. Reloaded and Revolutions was made all together and purposely cut in half to leave us as a viewer off on a cliffhanger and literally wanting more. Neo was placed in a coma, and Bane, who is actually a Smith, is lying right next to him. What a perfect way to leave this suspenseful moment. As a whole, this film is like eating popcorn. It is so dense. This was perfectly expressed by Morpheus himself in an interview.
I don't care about oracles or prophecies or messiahs. I care about one thing: stopping that army from destroying this city. And to do that, I need soldiers to obey my orders.
This film provides additional characters that are important to the movie's new development. Not one character added didn't have a reason to be involved. You either love or hate them in the best of ways. Characters like Niobe have small screen time, but make a big impact with their presence. Another example is Commander Locke, who comes across as a major douche, but you kind of understand him. But both of these characters are also great because they tie perfectly into Morpheus, and not just his past, but his character in general. We also do and do not like the Merovingian. We can't stand him because he holds the Keymaker captive to remain in power, but he's a very sly and dangerous program. He and his ghosts literally get in the way. Basically, he is an organized crime syndicate of this movie. But we still need him for his trafficker of information. His reasons for causality can delay or botch Neo's access to the retaking control for humans over the machines. He also makes them question their real reason why they are here. He makes them question fate and who is really in control.
You are here because you were sent here. You were told to come here and then you obeyed. You see, there is only one constant: causality. Cause and effect. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
In a way, he was expressing that you are not in true power unless you are taking action on your personal choice. His wife, Persephone, later teaches him his own lack of control he believed he had by cheating on her, so she gives the keymaker over to Neo, the action of cause and effect. She shows control and power over the situation. We also can't forget about Z.
Every ship up there has been home 2, even 3 times more than the Nebuchadnezzar.
Come on, Z.
We see on a human level the action of having to wait for her husband to return, or not, from his work. She shortly after provides understanding to Link's choice to remain working with Morpheus, even though she expresses,
I'm afraid it's gonna take you too.
It won't.
How can you say that to me?
Because of Morpheus.
Link, Morpheus is crazy.
No doubt.
We come to understand her reason for not liking the Nebuchadnezzar because of the death of her 2 brothers, Tank and Dozer. And I have a slight side tangent about Tank. His death off-screen felt unwarranted, especially after his awesome actions of protecting his team members when nearly on the brink of his own death from Cypher. It would have been nice to see him have at least one more time helping in an intense moment of action with the ship fleeing from the machines, or helping everyone in the Matrix get their information to fight against the Agent Smiths. I wanted to see more of his potential. Honestly, in a way, I feel we all did, but his loss was certainly felt. Maybe that is what the creators wanted us to experience.
There are some things in this world, Captain Niobe, that will never change. Some things do change.
Morpheus still believes Neo is the one, and even when met with resistance from Locke, he respectfully gives him a polite "screw you." Morpheus is passionate about what he believes in and never insists anyone believe the same. But he is very persuasive.
God damn it, Morpheus. Not everyone believes what you believe.
My beliefs do not require them to.
This film is very interesting for him because this is the beginning of entering uncharted territory that his knowledge is slowly reaching its limits on the One. So his faith is actually being tested. In the first movie, it was very clear he enjoyed providing dramatic monologues. We see he has now transitioned into a motivational speaker. The Council hangs Morpheus on a high record, whether waiting for his return or even requesting that he be the person to update the humans of Zion.
What about you, Captain? What would you advise?
The truth. No one will panic, because there is nothing to fear. That army will never reach the gates of Zion.
Morpheus continues to believe and have faith in Neo being the one. He knows in himself that the prophecy will be fulfilled shortly. He took actions to leave a phone open to communication with the Oracle by leaving a ship behind. He has hope that Neo will fulfill his duty. Morpheus will continue to go down the path he knows is correct. He does not fear the future. In reality, though, he should be fearful of the future. What if he is too late, and the gates are torn down and Zion is lost? Morpheus does not falter at this point of the movie. He continues to move forward. He is so resolute in his choice that he provides a motivational or even an inspirational speech to the humans of Zion. Here is a portion of that speech.
It is true, what many of you have heard. The machines have gathered an army, and as I speak, that army is drawing nearer to our home. Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. Stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here!
Morpheus just continues to be awesome in this film, literally a badass. We see him take on a few agents and even fight a ghost. Whoever had the idea to give Morpheus a sword deserves a damn raise. He was a blast to watch with every action scene. Toward the end of the film, we see Morpheus' world start to shatter. He gives a motivational speech to his crew and a few key players in their supposedly final plan to shut down the Matrix. Morpheus expresses,
All of our lives, we have fought this war. Tonight, I believe we can end it. Tonight is not an accident. There are no accidents. We have not come here by chance. I do not believe in chance. When I see 3 objectives, 3 captains, 3 ships, I do not see coincidence. I see providence. I see purpose. I believe it is our fate to be here. It is our destiny. I believe this night holds for each and every one of us the very meaning of our lives.
Morpheus still has confidence that this moment they are in is truly their destiny, and that everything is as destined. Niobe does question if he is wrong and if the prophecy is a bunch of nonsense. Morpheus gives the example that they are all soldiers and that they could all die at any given time. Morpheus does rephrase her question, but what if it is true? What if the war can be over very shortly? Shortly after their discussion, and while everyone is taking part in their action of shutting down the grid, Soren and his team members are killed on their ship by the machines. They are no longer assistive to Morpheus's plan. Trinity does take their place instead of collapsing the grid, and in a way, now her destiny is affected. Morpheus is attacked by Agent Smiths, and you can see the horror of almost being deleted. But the horror continues for him. Once Neo returns and everyone is chilling in the dining area of the ship, Morpheus questions and doesn't understand how the war is not over.
I don't understand it. Everything was done as it was supposed to be done. Once the One reaches the source, the war should be over.
Neo informs him that the prophecy was a lie. Morpheus insists he does not believe that statement, and you see him completely zone out.
I don't believe that.
But you said it yourself. How can the prophecy be true if the war isn't over?
His world is literally shattered. In a way, you see him shut down, and he doesn't continue his leadership of how to move forward. Trinity takes over that role for the moment. We see how shattered Morpheus is when some of his last lines in the movie is the following.
I have dreamed in your aim. But now that dream is gone from me.
Morpheus's purpose in life seems like a fake, and in a way not actually controlled by him. He was simply a pawn.
But we control these machines, they don't control us.
Neo continues to show that he does not believe in fate. When in communication with the kid insists that Neo saving him was fate, and in his return of thanks, he wants to join the crew. Neo reminds the kid that he found Neo, and that Neo only showed him the path. The choice was his to continue to move forward and live. Neo also wants to, in a way, limit his interactions, or maybe even connections, out of concern for loss. He wants to focus on the future aspect of Zion, and most of all, protecting Trinity from his visions he is starting to have, now that his powers have grown stronger. This film overall shows how much more Neo is embracing being the One. When they return to Zion, he sees what they are all fighting for.
I have a daughter on the Icarus.
No, wait.
It's all right. They need you.
I need you.
I know. There's time.
Throughout the whole movie, he is having to let go of Trinity to do what needs to be done. We just watched a clip of the smallest example for his near-separation anxiety. He also lets go, again in a slightly bigger way, when he kisses Persephone just to get her help. Not sure if this woman was brave or stupid, especially since Trinity was so close to shooting this hoe.
Just a sample. Why don't you sample this instead?
Trinity.
But Neo's most defining moment with Trinity is when he asks her to stay out of the Matrix. He feels his visions or nightmares are close to her death, and he tries everything in his current power to stop her from that path. Either way, he eventually doesn't let Trinity go when he faces the Architect's choice. But because of his past choices, we do question which option will he choose, the world or Trinity. He does choose Trinity, and you see him fly the fastest he can to catch her from falling to her death. Then he literally brings her back to life.
I know you can hear me. I'm not letting go. I can't. I love you too damn much. I can't take this.
Me neither, Link. Their love is just way too much. Outside of his romance, Neo has also grown as a fighter. He has a slight scuffle with 3 surprisingly and reasonably stronger agents.
Upgrades.
We see Neo's fighting has grown more precise, sleek, and skilled when going against Seraph, to prove he is worthy to visit what needs to be protected the most, the Oracle.
Good. No, you do not truly know someone until you fight them.
His time with the Oracle always seems short-lived. He then goes against not 1, not 6, but 100 Agent Smiths all at once. The action of taking on this many people at once really showed how much Neo has evolved as the One and the unbelievable amount of power that is in him. I mean, he even takes on a whole squad of goons at the Merovingian's palace in a total badass action scene. We also can't forget the Superman flying moments. I mean, there's a literal explosion behind him caused by him. Do you see how much stuff is warping around him in the speeds that he is reaching? Each time, it is literally jaw-dropping. We see that his powers continue to have no match for Death past himself. He can also save Trinity, which literally shows how much control he has of the basically algorithms of the Matrix. He can literally go between the lines and keep her or anyone else alive. But does he become too confident in his powers? While outside of the Matrix and running from the ship with his crew due to an incoming EMP, Neo expresses to Trinity while stopped,
Something's different.
What?
I can feel them.
Neo tries to stand guard while in human form and, in a way, tries to communicate and or stop them from their path of going after the crew that's fleeing. This action seems to overtake him and he collapses in front of Trinity. Neo is now in a coma. Was this action too much for him to try and control, especially outside of the Matrix? This is the first time we see Neo do something this risky in the real world. We as a viewer are literally left concerned and scared of Neo's future. Even now, knowing being the One is not necessarily important. Neo is coming to know from his door choice that his emotions of love can make him weak. Is Neo starting to falter in his mental and emotional strength?
Touch me, and that hand will never touch anything again.
Trinity just continues to be a badass. I didn't think it was possible, but they managed to do it. For example, taking a bullet like a champ. In the middle of the movie, the whole highway scene was just phenomenal. We are told that they were to never enter that section, and she comes in and freaking owns the whole damn road. We also see her more loving side with trying to help Neo and not be fearful.
You want to talk?
They're just dreams.
If you're afraid of something.
I wish I knew what I'm supposed to do.
We see her letting Neo be with the people of Zion when they first return. Shortly after she is plugged in with Neo, we see Trinity in a way comforting Neo.
What's wrong? It's okay, you can tell me.
Trinity,
Don't be afraid.
I can't lose you.
You're not gonna lose me. You feel this? I'm never letting go.
We see Neo's effect on her when she chooses to stay behind, at first, in the movie's end battle. Trinity keeps her word as long as she can and stays out of the Matrix, until her and Link see that their plan of action is quickly failing. Link tries to stop her and in a way remind her of the promise, but Trinity is Trinity. She is a leader first and a lover second. She states her choice.
As soon as they open that door, it's all over.
The hell it is.
What is Trinity?
I will not stand here and do nothing. I will not wait here to watch them die.
Trinity, we're talking less than 5 minutes here.
In 5 minutes, I'll tear that whole goddamn building down.
Her actions then speak louder than words. She takes out the building and she takes the bullet like a champ. Soon after being rescued and Neo informs them all the truth, she continues to show her leadership when Morpheus cannot. She proves why she is second in command. She willingly states the question aloud that everyone is so scared to know. What about the future of the human race of Zion?
I killed you, Mr. Anderson. I watched you die. With a certain satisfaction, I might add.
Man, this guy has gotten even crazier, literally in a vengeance mode. When Neo went inside him in the previous film, it set him free, and now he's taking over anyone he wants. He also finds a way out of the Matrix as well, which was just mind-blowing. We come to understand that Neo and Smith, in a way, have this connection. Like, Neo has ways of manipulating the Matrix. Smith can manipulate the programs to be overwritten and more powerful in their actions, making them nearly invincible. We clearly see that Neo in some ways is struggling with the overpowering amount of agents. What we also found interesting is that Smith doesn't necessarily have the urge to leave Earth anymore. Rather, he now feels compelled to stay and basically disobey what he was originally programmed to do. He expresses,
I am no longer an agent of this system. Because of you, I've changed. I'm unplugged. A new man.
He acts like a new man with a new purpose. He feels even more driven to go after Neo. In a way, Neo reacts with this encounter against Smith when he returns home by stating,
But I know what it felt like.
What?
Felt like I was back in that hallway. Felt like dying.
Neo realized when Smith had his hand in him and nearly changed him or reprogrammed him, we not only saw the shock, but he in turn expressed that he felt like dying. He literally came close to death again. This shows how much more power Smith now has. In a lot of ways, it is remarkable. Earlier in the movie, we saw Smith's potential of duplicating himself, and he continues to prove that in the continuous hallway of doors again. In fact, he in a way provides a dramatic speech to Neo and Morpheus. He states he's been waiting for Neo, and that he should have been using his brain muscles in that matter. He then openly tells Neo to shoot him, any of him.
I want everything.
Would that include a bullet from this gun?
Go ahead, shoot. The best thing about being me, there's so many me.
Overall, we see Agent Smith developing and manifesting in this movie to prepare us for a much more intensified character in Revolutions. Each time we see Smith, he is clearly getting stronger. In a way, he is adapting to be that virus, prepping to destroy everything in his path. He is starting to find no limits to what he can do. I mean, come on, he can duplicate and make Neo feel death. In some ways, Smith may even know Neo is faltering. He thinks on the same wavelength because they are connected.
I am the architect. I created the Matrix.
Besides Neo having these unusual powers and his love with Trinity, is his life as the One actually still a form of control? That is what this whole movie is about, control and choice. In Neo's discussions with the architects, everything was clarified. Neo is basically a part of an unbalanced equation. He is basically a burden that is still under a measurable amount of control by the architect through another form of a mathematical equation.
Choice. The problem is choice.
We just watched Neo have his reaction, and behind him about 5 important other actions that could have been his possible past choices, and the ones outside of that could be future reactions. But Neo's response is key. In actuality, the architect is telling Neo that he is a timed preparation of future events. By his final choices, they already know his next step. Every choice is continuously controlled or guided to that choice. A continuous recycle of these human choices or behavior will continue to affect the Matrix. But everything will continue to be updated or redesigned to beat the future choices happening again. We see Neo get frustrated by these now clarified choices and amount of control that she and the Oracle had. Did she not tell him or guide him to find the Keymaker and then proceed to tell him of the architect? Is she not impacting his choices? Is this not another way of control or even persuasion? We do come to know she is the mother of the Matrix. The architect tells Neo what his future choices will lead to, and he even tells him the number of people he will save. Before he gives the door options of paths to choose, he pushes Neo to fully understand how useless, in a way, that he is just a small anomaly, just like those of Zion are.
Ergo, those that refuse the program, while a minority, if unchecked, would constitute an escalating probability of disaster.
This is about Zion.
The architect acknowledges that he is very clearly motivated by love, but informs Neo that there were others before him that have failed, not just Neo himself because of love. The bottom line is choice. That is the actual primary problem. Emotions are specifically designed to overwhelm our logic and reasons. Emotions can literally blind someone to the point of causing death. Ever hear the phrase, "I will give my life for theirs"? This is the architect's way of providing proof of how flawed his choices will be in hopes of keeping Trinity alive a little longer. Hope was given to Morpheus of the One being the savior of Zion, and shortly it will destroy him. In reality, everyone taking part in keeping hope in the One and keeping Zion alive will all in a way show a form of weakness due to defeat. The architect's exit lines are true for how we feel leaving this movie's conclusion until Revolutions.
Hope. It is the quintessential human delusion, simultaneously the source of your greatest strength and your greatest weakness.
Because some things never change, Jason. And some things do.
The Matrix in its entirety finds a way to bring many mediums to life of the world we all love, and fill in some small gaps or questions we may have had. They did this not just through a movie, but with a video game and an anime as well. I never played the video game, and I have full intentions of watching at least the gameplay one day. But the video game was quite unique in the fact that it provided more information around Niobe's past, basically how she got the information from Osiris's ship.
These geotherms confirm the last transmission of the Osiris. The machines are digging. They're boring from the surface straight down to Zion.
How fast are they moving?
Control estimates their descent at 100 meters an hour.
How deep are they?
Almost 2,000 meters.
Reloaded is full of way more action and fighting, which shows in the screen time. I mean, it is nearly double the fighting sequences, and to be honest, I would have been okay with more. But the full growth of Neo's action skills, the flying and visions, was all to help in a way separate him from the first movie, to truly show his growth or steps he took to becoming the One. Us as viewers can clearly see this distinction. Most of all, we could not get over the CGI, from the cavernous pit of Zion being a good chunk of actual people in a room, to the falling action scenes of Trinity fighting an agent, and the pure reflections in the glass windows being phenomenally detailed. We can't forget the ghosts' appearances and phasing interactions during combat, and not to mention pure fighting of the Smiths and flying away from the scene were all crazily breathtaking and seriously made you want more. Especially knowing a good part of the action scenes was done by the actors themselves. I mean, the Agent Smith's duplications were only duplicates behind the first 6 to 10 front-facing Smiths on your screen. As much as we are excited to be nearly complete with this trilogy, we are also sad to be closing out this video. What do you think of Neo and Trinity's romance development? Did you miss Tank like we did? We broke when we saw Morpheus' life shatter. Did you as well? Are you upset with the Oracle as much as we are about her manipulating abilities? We have so much to talk about still, and we highly encourage you to leave comments below. Yes, it is your choice, or am I persuading you with a form of control? Either way, we enjoy our viewers' interactions, and that includes subscribing, hitting the thumbs up button, sharing the video, and hitting that bell for future video notifications. Remember, 'tis the season to be kind, so stay nerdy and keep binging.